Hello and welcome to the class today. We're starting off a new series on how to draw landscapes. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be great fun. So we'll start at the back and we'll work our way forward as we normally do when we're drawing. So we're going to do clouds today. So it's not a difficult drawing. I chose something that looks difficult, but drawing clouds is actually surprisingly easy and really a lot of fun. So let me show you what the picture looks like and then we'll take it from there. So I got this picture on Pixabay. So if you are a patron, you can head over to the website and go and download a PDF. It's got the color version and the grayscale version. And then after the class, I'll obviously now add the final drawing for you to reference from as well. So I've basically just printed it out. So this is just on an A4 sheet that I'm working on today, and just a neat sheet of paper. I haven't drawn any, there's nothing really to sketch here. It's quite a simple, straightforward drawing. I wanted the clouds to be the hero here today because that's what we're learning. So just a basic little tree and a few little easy hills in the foreground to do after we've done the clouds. Alright, so you can see the clouds look quite complex and rolling and full of tonal values and stuff, but there's a really easy way to draw them, and that was what I'm going to show you today. So the first thing you're going to need is just a scrap piece of paper, and then you take your darkest pencil, an 8 or a 9B or so on. So what I've got here is just basically a graphite stick. So this is a 9B Faber-Castell. It says PITT graphite, P-I-T-T graphite 9B. So I usually use this because there's no wood or anything to worry about, and I just scratch over here until this whole page is full of graphite. So you can fill this thing up as much as you want to, and then it's got loose graphite on here, and then I take a scrap piece of t-shirting material which I can now rub over here to pick up that loose graphite, and then we draw with the cloth. So then what I also do is I take one of these and I sand him down just with regular old sanding paper, just a sanding sheet like this, and I sand him down until eventually I've got a whole tub full of fine graphite dust, because you'll find this here gives you nice light tones and up to intermediate tones, and then to get the darker tones you'll use some neat graphite dust, and that gets you to your dark tonal values as well. So I'm going to use this, and as I go along I'm generally going to put my finger inside the cloth like that. So now I can pick up some of the graphite on here, or I can dip into the pile of graphite if I want to go darker. You can see the graphite lying there. And then when I want just a lighter tonal value, I'll just give this thing a shake to get rid of all the loose graphite, and then just use a dirty area, and that gives me my lighter tonal values. So that's how you can get from light through to dark using just graphite dust, and we're going to be drawing with graphite dust today. So when you're doing clouds, you can use rougher paper, but I find a nice smooth paper works better. In actual fact, I usually draw on just a smooth drawing paper. So today I'm just working on just plain old photocopy paper, A4 photocopy paper. Alright, so let's see, how can we put this picture down? I think I'm going to put the reference photo down there like that, and then we'll work on this half, though these clouds over here, and then we'll move across to that side over there. So initially I'm just going to pick up from here just to get me going, because what we need to do here now is just give ourselves a rough idea maybe I can just put him down small, well, during this the sketching process, just so that we know where's what. So there we've got this little a hill over there. So I'm just holding the reference photo here in my hand as I go. Then we've got the other guy, he's around here somewhere. And then there's a smaller little hill over there. And around here somewhere there's that tree standing over there. And that's now literally all the sketching work that we need to do today. Alright, so let's go back to that guy over there. So for now, I'm just using this. None of the loose graphite powder. And I'm just going to give myself an idea where's what. So we've got some clouds in this vicinity here. They seem to be coming down here like that. Up there and a little bit out. Alright, so now I can start being a bit more bold, and I'm going to take a look at the different tonal values. So I'll look at the major tonal value, which seems to be sort of this tonal value here of this cloud. So now you can take this and you take your old cloth and I'll rub it over here to pick up lots of that whole area over there. And I'm just going to use little circular motions just to get that basic tonal value down there. What I'm trying to do is just get rid of the white of the paper. And the same for here. Here in this little central area, there's a very light bit of cloud floating around there. So I'm just going to put some of that down here, just using circular motions. So I'm not trying to draw a cloud yet. It's just to get rid of that white of the paper so that we can have some tonal contrasts going on here already. Now I'm going to go back to shoving my finger inside the cloth, picking up graphite. Now I'm going to work in little circular motions, and I'm going to start building up the shape of the cloud. Now I'm also going to keep in mind that a cloud changes in literally a minute. This cloud is going to look different. So I don't need to copy this perfectly. Just more or less is good enough. So I'm just working on these little outside edges. You can think of it as the silhouette of the cloud. Okay, something like that. Now I can start in this top corner over there. So now I'm going to dip into this graphite dust. The minute I see those really dark tonal values, I'll dip into the graphite dust and I'll start laying it down. And can you see how much darker that is? Still in those little circular motions. Now the thing with the graphite dust, it goes down dark. So what you need to do is, when you've picked up some new graphite dust, start in the darkest area. Otherwise, what happens is, let me do it. If I pick up some graphite dust and I just want to darken this up here a little bit. Now I've got lots of graphite dust and I put it down, instantly it's too dark. Then you've got a problem. Now you have to start trying to lighten it up. And that's not always so easy. So let's just use the kneaded eraser to get rid of that dot there. So I always just tap in the dark and then I'll come in to the areas that I want, because now I can start judging from that dark area how much darker this graphite that I've just picked up is making the surrounding area. So I'm looking at the different tonal values inside this cloud, and I'm going to roughly recreate it. So you're just going to look for lighter and darker areas. So over here you can see there's a like a little silver lining on that cloud over there. So for now I'm going to just ignore that, and can you see this area over here is initially too dark, or too light I should say, and that's fine. I'm just getting basic sort of tonal values and shapes down. Like here, and this cloud over here is darker in that area over there. Then here there's two clouds following on each other, so I can get this bottom edge, let's get that down there like that. Now you can take an eraser. So you can take your Tombow Mono. I'm just using a pencil shaped eraser, any sharp eraser. If you haven't got one of these guys yet, just take a standard eraser and just lob off the corner, or just use a little corner like that. And now you can work out that little silhouette of that silver lining. And again, don't worry if he comes out too light, that's fine, because it's easy to tone him down. So what I will do is, sometimes you get a sharp silver lining, other times like this it becomes a shading. So Andrew's asking if you can use a brush to apply the graphite powder. Andrew, you can. I just find using the cloth and the finger lays down a better layer. You tend to have to scrub a bit when you're using the brush, but you can, no problem. I find I use the brush when I want to do just finer adjustments. Small tonal value adjustments. Then the brush works well for me. Alright, let's just continue adding some more tonal values. So now I'm not picking up any new ones, because these are quite middle type tonal values over here. Now we can start darkening that up, adjusting that one's tonal value there. So this is just a bit of a rolling cloud over here. Okay, let's see, here's another little silver lining in this vicinity here. And that just sort of disappears into this amount over here. So you can see as I lift out this silver lining, I'm just still using circular motions and just random scrubbing motion. Almost like a bit of a scribble. And obviously every now and again, clean your eraser. Alright, so can you see some of the rolling clouds starting to appear here already? So as I draw, I want you to picture, compare on the on the drawing versus the photo to see what I'm seeing. Why am I darkening up a specific area? For example, here. Can you see? Let's try and point in this vicinity over here on the reference photo. Maybe I can do that, hey? It's darker here than there. You see there's a little bit of a tonal value difference. And then it goes dark again. So those are the kind of things that you want to get in. You want to get that little bit of a darker over here, going lighter, and then a little bit darker here underneath it again. And that'll give you these different cloud shapes to show that the clouds are rolling. Then this outside edge over here, I'll often make it a little bit harder than what it needs to be, like that. Then I can come back in here with the eraser and just refine the shape of that. So here we're lucky this is neat paper. So I can just straight up erase into that. If you've got areas that's a little bit darker, yeah, we'll get to that on the other side. I'm seeing a few places like that over there. So I like to erase little wispy bits out. So you've got to think of it as though you're drawing negatively. You're taking out the pieces that don't belong there, and you're just leaving what's supposed to be there. A little bit darker in this vicinity. Every time I put on with a cloth, I'm using just a soft pressure and a circular motion. So now obviously today I'm working a little bit accurate, just so that you can see how I develop it. But like I say, when you're working just a sketch on your own, don't sweat the small stuff. You don't have to get these clouds accurate, because they're rolling along. They are constantly changing. Okay, let's bring these little edges down a little bit further. Then we can erase them. So I'm constantly cleaning my eraser. To make sure I get nice clean, sharp edges when I'm erasing like this. See, just like that cloud has now got a definition. Then you can come in with your pencil. So I'm going to say take just a 2B and come right up against this silver lining here, because I want that separation between those two clouds to stand out. So I'm just going to carefully darken up this little edge that's right up against the silver lining. So he's dark here and he goes lighter towards the bottom. So I'm making sure I get that little separation over there. And now you can use your pencil to get, like you erased this edge over here, you can use your pencil to work that sharp edge in over there. Alrighty, so let's stick with that tubey. In this vicinity over here, can you see you got those little bit of wispy bits that are sticking out over there? So I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to just, using a little very light scribbling motion, just work in the few little wispy bits that we've got. So Sharon's asking, how do I preserve my drawings when the drawing is finished? If I'm going to frame it, I'll frame it, and there's your preservation right there. So what I'll usually do is I'll frame it behind UV glass. So the UV glass protects your paper itself from the sun. There's a few little light marks over there. Let me just take away that logo there for a second. Can you see in this area over here, there's a few little really bright marks. So maybe what we can do is just, let's add the graphite down there, and let's maybe take our kneaded eraser. If I'm not going to frame it, Sharon, then what I would do is I'll show my actual file now. So we just lift out a few of those little gaps over there in the clouds. So I've got a big ass file like this. With the drawings that I haven't framed. So these initial two is just my papers that I use for when I'm drawing, and I don't have to look for it. But here's all my drawings. So they're just in a folder. And these are plastic sleeves. And now when I store this, I hang this. I don't put it upright like you normally would. I sit it like this. So imagine my hand is the table. I would sit it on the table like that. So this is standing in the cupboard like this and not upright like you normally would. And that way the paper hangs in that plastic sleeve. So it can't damage. Alright, so I think let's go back in again. Maybe what I can do now is I'm going to take just the picture smaller, just smaller in the corner. Because now I want to work on this whole large area, and you've got a good feeling for how I'm doing it. So now you can see how it goes on in a larger area. Right, so I can see here there's some lighter clouds running around here. Somewhere in this vicinity there's a little darker patch on the cloud. So I'm just rubbing more over that, in that area over there. Padmini, yes, it's just those plastic document sleeves that you would normally put stuff in the office. That's all. Okay, so I'm just giving this its edge. So I'm just erasing the bits that I don't want. I'm going slightly in to give it that jagged edge, so it's not perfect. Alright, so let's maybe put that there, and you can see when I'm picking up dust and when I'm picking up just loose graphite. And if this loose graphite here on your paper runs out, just take your pencil, your darkest pencil, and just give him another coat, so that you have got more stuff to pick up. Alright, let's work on that patch over there. He's really quite dark, so I'm gonna, and it's a large area, so I'm not going to use my finger. I'm going to use the whole cloth like this. Pick up some graphite, and let's just get that basic tonal value. In other words, the lightest tonal value that you can see in that area, basically rubbed in. Can you see how much quicker and easier drawing the clouds with the cloth is, as opposed to, imagine you were trying to shade this with a pencil? That'd be pretty daunting, wouldn't it? It'd be crazy. Alright, so I'm going to just pick up now. Now it's back to finger inside, because here we've got smaller tonal value changes that we now need to start working on. For example, here's a little darker cloud in this vicinity here. This dark cloud over there, we can also still just work on his edge a little bit as well. So I think for this one I'll maybe just use a kneaded eraser. Just going to tap to get that edge right over there. And now I could just use my cloth just to work in that tonal value back in there that's now lifted out. Ah, so Barry says he's been working on the border collie from the dog course. Oh, thanks for following the course, Barry. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Alrighty, so let's get in those darks over there. So now it's really important to see the bits of cloud then as I'm seeing them, because you haven't got that one-to-one reference up on the screen. Can you see the small little circles that I'm doing? Here's little areas like puffy bits. I'm going to add just some tonal value down, and then I can take, where's my 2B pencil, and I could just selectively darken up one or two areas and use your kneaded eraser. Just every now and again fold that tip of yours over so you get a nice cleaner tip again. Just tap here and there inside that. Then you're getting lighter and darker areas inside that little patch of cloud. See that? Yeah, I'm glad you made it back to the class, Nicole. Okay, let's get this dark in over here and over here. So can you see the light? I hadn't gone dark enough with the lights, but that's fine. I'll leave it at that for now. What I will do now is just make sure that I get the next color more accurate. So as you go along, you're gradually working a little bit more accurate, a little bit more accurate. So all these real darks, I'm working with that graphite powder. Let's see, that does seem to come down quite a way, that one, eh? Comes down to around, probably around this vicinity. That there's all really dark. Well, I'm glad the classes are helping you. I enjoy helping people improve. That's my passion in life. Besides, I get to sit and draw and paint the whole day. What's better than that? Alrighty, so here, can you see it's getting gradually lighter and lighter and lighter, hey? So I'm going to just start here in the dark, as you always do. And as you're rubbing this in, the graphite is sort of the majority of sitting there. So as I move across here, there's less and less graphite available on the cloth. So that's automatically giving me a lighter tonal value. But at the same time, I'm going to lay off on the pressure that I'm applying to the paper. Till eventually I'm having to use the lightest touch. And if that's still making it too dark, then I'm going to move away from that area where I've just picked up the graphite. And I'll go to a new area. That area there won't have much graphite on it. And I'll use that in the lightest touch. Good night, Lindy. Thanks for joining us. You can always watch the replay. It's getting a bit late there by you. Alright, so let's continue darkening these guys up. Let's get their tonal values more correct now. You see, initially when you put down a color, you're working against the white paper. So whatever you put down looks dark. Now that you start putting down other tonal values, now you've got a better frame of reference. So that allows you to judge those tonal values better. Alright, so can you see here, it's quite light and fluffy. So I'm actually just using light taps with my finger to get these little wispy cloud pieces. Okay, let's go to there. All this here can still go darker, including those lights. The lights are still too light. Here's a really dark bit. So I'm going to keep adding graphite dust. Tap, tap, tap. And you can actually press quite hard in that area because now you know it's going to be dark there. So you can press quite hard eventually. When you're certain of an area, then if you need to press hard, then you can. If you're not certain of an area, then obviously then you can't, because what if you need to change something or fix something? Right, so I'd like to get that nice sharp little edge over there. So I'm just using the eraser. I'm going to tap out that silhouette. The same as we used the pencil on this side. I'm just using the kneaded eraser because you've got other tonal values there. We can't really erase there because it'll take out too much. Right, so now I'm also going to just get you can take this, or even better, you know what? Even better. Instead of using your brush, you can now use your blending stump and just move some of this graphite into there just to adjust that tonal value to get it right. Right, so I can see this area here can go a little bit lighter. sort of in between these two cloud banks is an area that's a little bit lighter. So I'll tap on that. And I'm going to use, can you see there's that little darker cloud? So I'm going to just selectively use my pencil to create that little darker edge over there. Carefully come back in with the eraser. On the lighter side of it and just add in that extra little bit of contrast. And there you go, you've got it. Alright, let's just get rid of all the loose graphite dust here for now so we can just properly judge what's going on there. There's a few little places we can still go darker, eh? Like in that corner there. All this here can also still go darker. Okay, let's start coming down. So this down here at the bottom is quite a simple little cloud. What's really important is that we leave that area open over there for the tree. So we don't want to go too dark over here. I'm pressing really light with very little graphite dust and stuff. Very, very little. Here's a nice little puffy cloud. Looks almost like a little ghost floating around there. So I'm going to use just taps on the tip of my finger. And we'll tap that little cloud in over there like that. That guy over there, a little bit darker there. Not quite in the right position. He's drifted on a little bit. Alright, let's use the pencil and add a few little puffy bits. Those little loose, puffy, flyaway bits of cloud. And yeah, I'm also just going to selectively darken up a few little areas inside this shape over here. All just using circular motions. Let's maybe make a little bit of a lighter area over there. Because here seems to be a cloud he's got a, like that cumulus cloud with a flat bottom. Does seem to be a little area over there that's flat. So let's work in a little flat area there. And let's join these two guys up as well. So now I'm just using my pencil for a few little selective marks. Just for fine tuning. Is it necessary? Yeah, probably not, but Like I say, today we are going to try and get a bit of a likeness of this cloud. It's not going to be perfect, but try and get some more of a likeness so that you can see how I do it. And from there you can now decide how accurate you want your cloud to be. But at least you'll have the techniques to do similar stuff. Alright, here's a nice little cumulus cloud coming up. So let's get ourselves a bit of tonal value above that hill over there as a base for that cloud. And let's start billowing him up. He'll go up to around this vicinity, around to there. Here is darker, so I'm going to just tap in some darks there. And he comes out down this way. So he's got quite a few little silver linings and things, so that's quite nice. So I'll add some of those tonal values in there. May as well, while we add it, bring that little dark, that's probably more like a mist. Maybe it's a bit of a rain. Yeah, it looks like a rain cloud. Ah, that's cool. That we can add a bit of a rain effect here too. Didn't see that when I initially looked at the photo. So this is just a basic little bit of color being added over there. Alright, so here we can work in a few different ways. There's that little lighter bit. So I'm going to use my Kneaded Eraser to negatively bring that in. Just little taps. There, like that. Now let's get the eraser. And let's start working in some of those little silver linings there. So we've got this guy running along somewhere like that. Let's see, maybe I can zoom in on that a little bit more so you can see a bit better. Alright, so I've got that silver lining in there, and I'm going to just using little circular motions and taps work that silver lining downwards into the cloud in this area here. Can you see it's got a bit of a shading there? And the same over here, there's a little bit of a shading on this part of the cloud over here. So I'm working that little silver lining inwards. And that makes that cloud look round. Okay, let's see over here. There's a random little lighter puffy cloud hanging around in this vicinity. So we'll pop him in. So he'll need a nice sharp edge on this side. So let's work that in with a pencil. Here we've got this guy, he's coming down around here somewhere. There's that guy, he's got a few little flyaway puffy bits, so we can use the pencil for that. And here I'm also going to add just that little bit of darker over here to make that silver lining stand out a bit better. Just selectively darkening up against that silver lining. Yeah, that's cool. This little piece of cloud goes up a little bit further. And I think that top piece there also goes up a little bit further. So let's push him a little bit higher. That's cool. Alright, next silver lining is this guy over here. So he comes down. He's got a few little lumps and bumps to him. And again, I'm taking a look. How does that silver lining shade? Does he shade upwards or downwards? In this case, he's shading downwards. So we'll bring that in. This whole area here is a little bit lighter, so we can go back to the Kneaded Eraser. Just tap, tap, tap. Sort of just meets up with that silver lining over there. Okay, so that's now a little bit too light. So I'll just use my blending stump. To adjust that. Right, I can also see that there's now a little bit darker than what it needs to be. But you know what, I think I'm going to just leave it like that. I'll pick up some of these loose bits of graphite that are in there, and I'm going to just tap in a few little loose flyaway bits of cloud that are drifting off over there in that direction. So Al is asking if it's possible to make these artworks digitally. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Get yourself a tablet and a pen, and just trying to think now what's the most popular digital art program. I don't usually work digitally myself. My daughter does. She enjoys it. I just can't think of the name of the program she uses now. Yeah, I think that's probably reasonably close to that cloud. I'm happy with that. Just carefully want to work in this little cloud, make him a little bit more obvious. Procreate, there we go. Yes, there you go. Procreate, that's the one. From what I've seen, it's a really, really powerful program. Really great app. I do have it on my iPad, but yeah, I'm just never really had the chance to sit down and play a bit. Alright, so in here we've got a bit of rain happening. Maybe what I'll do is let's go and take a look at that photograph for a second. Can you see in this area over here, these lines are all going in one direction. So that tells me there is some rain happening. And that's pretty much the secret to drawing yourself some rain. I'm going to just take my Kneaded Eraser, just bring him out to a really rough point, not too sharp. And I'm going to just drag it from the light into the dark. Very, very gently. You want some of these lines to go long and some of them to go short. So some of them you're going to just come with short little lines and some with longer ones. And then some you're just going to go over once, some you're going to go over multiple times. And you could do the same thing for when you've got just like those sun rays that sometimes come out. Let's maybe take this photo and pop him. Let's move him to the top there. Because here is a little bit of a misty effect going on over there. So I'm going to just use a few little taps of the nice big rounded area on the eraser. Yeah, that should be fine. Yeah, it's just a little darker piece floating in underneath there that I'm seeing now. There, and here's another little breakaway floaty piece. For that we can even just use that blending stump there. So what's nice about the blending stump is it doesn't put down too much graphite. I think I'm going to just pull in one or two more of these guys that are a bit more prominent. Just in one area. Maybe it's raining a little bit harder over here than those areas over there. Alright, let's see. Let's adjust that to there. Because now we can put in this over here, because we're basically done. So I'm going to take my cloth, pop the finger in, and I'm going to pick up some graphite dust. We'll start here in this bottom corner, because it's darkest over here. Let's just get that tonal value right. Really quite dark. Then I'm going to just gradually work upwards to create a shading. Like that, until I'm at the top of that. The top of that hill over there. Okay, now we'll do exactly the same thing over here. Let's create this hill over here. Bring him out, and as we go up, we're going to gradually have less and less graphite on that cloth of ours, and that'll give us a free shading. And then around here somewhere. Okay, let's work in the other two guys first, and then we'll squeeze in that last little one. Now we can take an eraser, and let's just work in, because this is like a bit of a grassy effect. So I'm just going to take an eraser, and I'm just going to erase out some rough lines. But not perfect lines, just rough lines. Suppose you can think of it as little pieces of lines. Lots here at the top, and less as we come down, and that'll give us a bit of a grassy effect over there. Let's do the same over here. quite light over here. Gets less here too by the tree. Then as we come down, less and less of these lines. Yeah, it's quite dark actually. So let's get back to the cloth and the graphite dust. Let's darken this area up here. This cloud is quite dark over here. And here actually seems to be got 1 and then 2. So there's a little extra hill over there. Alright, and then in this vicinity over here, somewhere there's that extra hill. I think for him I'm just going to use a pencil just to work out that guy, just with a few little lines. Leave it quite stripy. And I'll use a nice dark, say a 9B or so. And just add a few little extra lines in here for some darker contrasts. Just in the darker bits, less as you come up. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. There's our field. And I think this tree we'll just do, because we haven't done trees yet, so I'm just going to keep it quite simple. Here's around this vicinity, so I'm going to put in the trunk, and this is just a 9B pencil. Just a little trunk over there. There's a branch there, one there and one there. And I'm just going to scribble in the shape of this guy. Just using 45-degree little angle. So he seems reasonably straight here at the bottom. I'll give him just a little bit of a variation just for interest sake. Okay, let's build this branch. So everything is just 45-degree strokes. I'm not pressing hard, letting the pencil do its thing. And let's see, that seems to be roughly the shape of that tree. Now I'm just going to add a few little darker bits here and there. Especially at the bottom, just a few little darker bits, just to suggest some these different branches. Yeah, that's fine. Make sure that branch goes into there, and into there. And then we need a shadow being cast. So I'll start here from the tree and just flick outwards. Because what happens with a shadow is it starts dark against the object and then it just fades itself out. Like that. And then I'm seeing some nice birds in the sky. Can't finish a drawing without some birds in the sky. But you see the birds over here? We've already got one major object over here. So I think I'm going to put those birds in that gap over there. Just for balance, so that you've got here something to look at and there something to look at. So birds is just tweet. Different sizes, different angles. There's quite a few of them. Maybe they're migrating. There we go. See, that's just balanced that out now, hey? Alright, let's turf the references. Let's see what we've got. Yeah, it seems mostly. I mean, I could fiddle now with a few little bits, but I think we've got the essence of those clouds down there. I'm happy with that. So yeah, I think you know how to do the clouds now. Just darkening up that little area over there. I like to have my corners reasonably dark. And having said that, this one has ended up light. Then here as well, I think let's just make sure that you've got a good contrast between the ground and the clouds. So we'll just darken up that little section over there. Just quickly with a 2B pencil. There we go. See, now that stands out better, eh? Got a nice separation between the ground and the sky. Yes, I think we'll call it a day on that guy. There we go. Not difficult at all, eh? Just a little bit of putting down some tonal values, but it's easy peasy. And I think it gives us a nice striking little drawing. I'm glad you enjoyed that, Zainab. You're welcome, Padmini. Padmini saying you make it look so easy. It is easy. It just takes practice. With a little bit of practice, once you've got that technique, then it comes easy. And when it comes easy, then it looks easy. Just practice. Lots of practice. So the next class is a painting one. So we'll tackle that one. Let's just see, what is that one again? I can't remember. We're going to take a look. So the next class is an impressionistic figure in oil. I'm quite looking forward to that. Now it's going to be great fun. If you have enjoyed today's class, please consider becoming a patron. My website address is at the bottom there, onlineartlessons.com. I've got hundreds more classes like that exclusively over there, which you can go and access. And then obviously you get access to this class's replay and the handouts that go with it. You can go and download that. And all the other live classes that I do and all the other classes that I've got. They've all got their handouts that you can go and download, and sketch templates and so on. So there's pencil classes, there's pastel classes, there's oil, acrylic, watercolor. There's even pen and ink classes for you to go and follow on my website as a patron. And it's really affordable. Go take a look. You'll be quite surprised. I'm glad you enjoyed that, Mr. Coffee. That's an interesting name. You're welcome, guys. I think I'm not seeing any new questions coming through, so I think let's call it a day on this one. Thank you for joining me in the class today. I really enjoyed drawing the clouds, and as you can see, it's not that difficult. Just a little bit of a process with a cloth, but it saves you a lot of time versus trying to draw it with a pencil. I'll see you next time. Alright, let's just see so you had a question there. Can I try to make some digital lessons? I think there are quite a lot of digital lessons on YouTube. Just take a look at that. I'm sticking with the ones that I'm doing now. I find that if you jump around with too many in the classes, then YouTube doesn't know what you're doing, that it doesn't promote you so well. So I'm just going to stick with the pencil and the oil and acrylic classes for now. Maybe at a later stage. Alrighty, guys. So you have yourself a wonderful weekend. I'll see you next week when we do that figure. I'm really looking forward to it. Go and take a look on the website. So you go to the live class page. You'll see what it looks like. It's going to be a really dramatic painting, and it's going to be nice, loose, impressionistic strokes and stuff. Maybe we'll even paint it with a knife. It's going to be great fun. Cheerio. I'll see you next time.